You have to start healing quickly once you break up with your ex. And understand what I'm saying when I say this. I don't mean you need to rush your healing process to move on, right? Because that can't be rushed so often. You have to nurture and nurse and tend to those wounds that you have. What I'm saying is you need to get to the process of healing quickly as soon as you can once you've broken up officially with your ex, once that relationship is no longer a thing. And when I say that, I mean you guys do not have anything foreseeable that says you're trying to rekindle and get back together. If you're kind of still going through the space of saying you're kind of breaking up, but you guys aren't really taking those steps, and it's really because you're both just hurting and don't know what to do, but you're still kind of both really holding on in real time, and you haven't truly walked away yet, right? But you're saying that you are. It's a little different. Maybe you need to figure out some things before you know, hey, it's not just our emotions getting ahead of us and we're saying things we shouldn't say, like we want to break up and all that, but really you still want to hold on, right? That's different. But if you know it's been called off and it's officially you guys are no longer a thing, you need to get on to your healing immediately. I say immediately because the longer you give yourself time and a chance, your brain, your mind, your attachment system, a chance to illuminate and reminisce in all the good old times in the past, and you start to anchor onto that little slither of hope that maybe things will just work out in the end and it'll all figure itself out, right? It's all going to be okay because that was your forever person and you never saw living life without them, right? The moment you give yourself too much time to sit in that space is when you set yourself up for the biggest failure on the biggest day that it finally happens, and it puts you in a hole that's really hard to dig out of. And that day is a day you truly recognize and realize, officially, you feel it in here, that your ex is never coming back. That is the day you do not want to be caught red-handed, not already in the trench of doing the work on your healing process to move on. That is the worst space to be in because your heart is still tethered to your ex at that point. You're still emotionally invested on a level that's not healthy for you given their lack of investment. And now you have to deal with the raw pain of embracing and truly starting to mourn that relationship. Because here's the thing, when we break up with someone, you go through the hurt of not having that person there. There's a void of not having that partner present, but we don't really start our grieving process because you are grieving the loss of something, right? Until you fully accepted and chosen to work on moving on your life after that person. If you're still holding on to hope, you haven't really started to grieve truly. So that emotion, that energy is still sitting in you, waiting to be dealt with. And the moment you recognize and it's out of your hands, right? It's not in your control to choose to now start to move on. You have to because your ex is just now showing you officially they're never coming back. That's when you're in a rough spot and you're playing catch up. You're playing defense instead of being on the offensive, being proactive towards your healing aggressively. So you're not in a crumbled space whenever you realize you're never going to have again what you thought you can get back in that relationship with them. And if you're wondering, the three most obvious signs that your ex is not coming back officially is first, whenever they stop responding to your messages. They become so distanced, they're not trying to put any effort into keeping communication with you, especially when you know how well they did or didn't communicate beforehand. And if it's bare bones to nothing at all, and you're always the one trying to clamor and reach out and keep the connection, it's your first big sign they're not coming back. A second obvious one is you're starting to see them move on with their life. It's little to no contact with you, but then also now on social media or to mutual friends, they're moving on. They're just out here trying to do stuff. They're aggressively trying to do things to start their new life without you in it. Or maybe they've even started dating again. Could even be that, right? All signs that say, I'm not coming back in your direction. Or the third one, right? Which is maybe you guys have been having some communication still. Maybe they've said, I just need time to be out to myself. And they're kind of making promises of coming back and rekindling with you. But all of their actions contradict their promise to you to reconcile. Doing things like telling you, let's at least stay friends for now. Let's just be friends while we figure it out and we can come back together. But yet they're disappearing on you. They're doing everything but actually being a friend still. They're still trying to be tapped in on some level. This is when you know. But if you've waited to truly start detaching yourself, to start working on your healing and tending to your wounds and to what you need to fill your glass up and be happy and be in a good physical, mental, and emotional state, right? If you've been neglecting that, Then now that day comes to where you're noticing these signs and it's becoming really clear that they're not coming back to you. Now you're in a rock and a hard place. Now you're stuck. And it makes it worse because now you have to work on the mourning and walking away process whenever you're watching them live and thrive or move on without you, and you start to get that feeling that you didn't matter and all that stuff. And it makes it so much harder to focus on your healing because then you become so focused on, wow, did I even mean anything to them? And you're more focused on them instead of tending to yourself. So if you're going through a new breakup right now, stop focusing on your ex and start focusing on your grieving process. If you don't have anything that's really showing you that there's a chance you guys may kind of work it out and all that, assume you never will. Make that assumption. See, we never want to assume the negative too much, right? You want to assume the positive until proven negative. But in a circumstance like this, you don't want to be hopeful about something that's not giving you signs to be hopeful about it, right? So assume you're not going to get back together so you can preserve for yourself and work on and focus on your healing and mending so that you can be okay no matter what to move on confidently. If you're in that space right now and you need help learning the tools and the skills to work through that process in a healthy, efficient way, then either email or DM me coaching and we'll get to work as long as you're truly ready to put the work in. Let's get it.